let's get right into this topic. Let me take this sip of Crown Apple.
I need to pour up.
Go ahead, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw this question out here. So listen up. So we definitely was talking about the Jay-Z, Kaepernick, NFL whole situation, and I don't want to pick sides or pit sides, but we ran up into the realm of a lot of dualities, Malcolm versus Martin, and the progress versus the method conversation really stuck its head out, and I love that it did, because it's something that I think can be traced as the root of a lot of differences between a lot of internal issues and situations that we have within our community and our culture. Is everybody wants to see us do better and us do good and us get this and us get that, but we don't always agree on the method by which we get there. It's like, oh, we should go here and get up in the face of the establishment, and everybody, and some people like, no, we don't. We need to just write some letters and we have some meetings and So there's that duality there. But then, so here's the point that I'm making, because like you said, and you mentioned that Dr. Lovin also picked up the point of, we got Jay-Z's track record. We know what he does. Yeah. But the thing about it, the thing that we can all agree on is, at every point of the way, of course he's going to make money about it. It's what capitalism is. It's what it's what everybody doing. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm talking about everybody, I'm talking about not us, the inside of your hands. They've been doing it. So why not make a few million at the same time? Because you already know that you're gonna donate to the cause. You're gonna make a film about Khalif Browder and put shed light on the issues. Emmett Till. And you also have several philanthropic foundations that deal with either progressing the community or shedding light on social justice issues. We know that you are, donating money to get people out of prison, and the Meek Mill situation and all like that. We see his track record, and we already see it. And
this is me.
But hold on, real quick, because this is the major point that I really wanted to make, and I know it's going to spark the conversation. Is everybody always saying, well, not everybody, but we see a lot of people are saying on social media and whatnot, the fact that, okay, Jay-Z, you told everybody not to do this, and now you're doing it. But let's look at it from the framework and the standpoint of, Jay-Z said, don't say yes to the NFL. And then now he has a deal where he controls the entertainment for them for the halftime shows and the Super Bowl. So now it's like, okay, I run this now. So whereas before, possibly, and this is just me spinning off ideas off the top of my head, and just the business side is like, hey, the NFL was gonna pay you $50,000 to do this show, but I control this now. Your brother controls this now. I'm gonna give you $100,000 because I know what you're worth. That's just the framework and the standpoint that I'm looking at it from. Is just, okay, we didn't like his method of getting to this progress, but before, and plus he was saying, oh, don't do this. But then it's like, okay, oh, that's why he said don't do it, because give me a little time, and then in 2 years I'll have you in this same stage making twice of what they would have paid you 2 years ago. But that's the point I wanted to throw out there. Go ahead.
Okay. Go. Dr. Livin, I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait.
So, at least for the people who perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, I'm not sure how much money is really involved with it as much as it is, publicity and promotion. So I don't know that is the angle that I saw with respect to this. To the extent that you can control the narrative, right, and you can control the messaging that's coming out from an institution like the NFL, then okay, that could be, that could be a big deal if you're allowed that real latitude and you use it the right way. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to be looking at. Is he going to be willing to say, these things are wrong and these are the things that we need to be working to change in the criminal justice system, and using the NFL as a mouthpiece to do that? I think if he does that and does it well, a lot of people are going to start to be like, okay, well, I understand why he made the move that he made. But I mean, that's going to be the question, right? is how, and Destrin, you're right. It's like, okay, well, did he try? Right? Because again, getting legislation through is not something that you can do in a one-sided manner. So yeah, you can work towards it and it might not happen, but we can see that the NFL's message, or at least this messaging that has been communicating with respect to this at an institutional level, is been opposition to the protest of Colin Kaepernick with no real address to the underlying issue that he was protesting about. And that's just a fact. Nobody has really talked about it. Everybody has nodded their head and been like, yeah, that shouldn't happen and everything. But the NFL has not done anything to suggest things that would make it so that officers were held more accountable for their actions, and that disparate treatment for whites and blacks in the eyes of the law would be something that would be immediately addressed.
So real quick, I just wanted to throw in the fact that I just looked it up. Halftime performers do not get paid. Like you said, it's more of a, hey, you getting a 15 to not even 15 minutes.
Shine, man. That's a lot of shine.
You getting a 5-minute performance, and plus you getting, up until this point it was ran by Pepsi. So you getting pubbed by Pepsi for the whole, month, 2-3 months before the Super Bowl and all of that.
And probably a commercial with them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you
know what I mean?
Commercial.
So,
you get commercial. There's a lot of free marketing going on to boost you as an artist, as an entertainer. But then that brings up the point that maybe now that Jay-Z is in control of it, Rock Nation is in control of it, maybe that changes now. Maybe they start paying now, because the thing is, a lot of people do not know is the NFL, the National Football League, is the largest and most money-making non-profit organization, I think, in the world. They are a non-profit organization. Let that sink in. If you do not believe me, Google it. The National Football League is a non-profit organization, meaning they have the same status as the United Way, Goodwill, Red Cross, which, we all know the truth about all these organizations, but that's a whole other conversation. But of course, you know that, if you got the Red Cross as a multi-billion-dollar corporation, somebody got to run it, they make millions of dollars, cool. But the NFL, they're non-profit. That makes sense. The commissioner makes between $31 and $40 million a year, but he's non-profit. And we all know how much money these people are making. You see, Jay-Z is a billionaire, and now he's in the ownership talks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this ain't cheap ball. We already know who Jerry Jones is, and Robert Kraft. We know all of the owners' names, most of them, and how much money and their wealth is accumulated. But just to throw that fact in there, it's a non-profit organization, meaning all of these billionaires.
I mean, they still have to pay taxes at their personal level for the money.
Of course they do. But just
the
like
entity. All right, this is
no. Because here's the thing: the NFL itself makes money off of jerseys, all of this licensing and all of that, but they're still a non-profit. And the thing about it is, the NFL does not own any of the teams that are part of the league. All of the teams are privately owned. So the entity itself, for it to be non-profit and own all of the licensing agreements when it comes to all of these this is a whole business conversation that we can get into in our league. Look, we're
gonna do it right. We're gonna do it right now. We're gonna do it quick. That's why they have a union. That's why they have a union.
Exactly.
That's why they have a union.
But how much can that union? So how much does that union do? No. Like, we look at it, it's a non-profit organization, and like last year's Super Bowl, Maroon 5 performed. They brought out Big Boy and somebody else. No, I brought up the point because remember the NFL was like, we're going to change. So out of all of this money that they make, they literally make billions, and we know it. They gave a $500,000 or $600,000 donation to a social justice cause.
For Travis Scott. Let's call his name.
Yeah. Travis Scott put it in. He said, "I'm not going to." And Travis Scott wasn't even the main act. Yes. Travis Scott signed on because Maroon 5 Maroon 5 was the gateway to bring in other people. They ain't got no song together. They ain't got not one damn song together. So they needed a way in, and the NFL figured out that they was the least controversial because they ain't got no beef with nobody. Maroon 5 ain't nobody heard from them in years. So they said, let's get them, and let's try to get a couple of other people in.
So
and
we're
gonna give what we make in 1 second. That's what they make in 1 second. I might be slightly off. I might be slightly off.
You're not off at all. You actually may be doing a favor.
Right. That's what they make in 1 second during the Super Bowl, and
Correct.
they gave it to a cause.
A few seconds in a commercial.
Go ahead, DJ man. Before I get heated in here while I'm drinking this.
I think that in the spirit of cooler heads prevailing, but in a belligerent way.
Kim K getting people pardoned from jail. I don't know if I believe it or not, but it happened.
Well, we can resurface that too, because that refers to who really got duped in that situation or not. Because as crazy as we think he is, the things that we wanted him to do, his wife is doing. So if they are actually supposed to be considered as one, we may need to reevaluate him in a different way at some point going forward. I mean, the influence has to come from somewhere. Now,
but that goes to that progress versus method. It's like
that's the thing.
Like you said, you didn't appreciate Jay-Z's
No, I didn't appreciate his comments, but I'm willing to wait to see.
And this is a problem that I have with a lot of public figures is. And I, and Dr. Lovin know well, especially both of you all, because you all do public speaking on a daily basis. And we all know Jay-Z is not the type to really do a lot of public speaking. He, for the most part, for majority of his career, as well as Beyonce, they've not done a lot of personal interviews. And, they're just now, both of them, and, we focus on Jay-Z right now, but I just, I want to put it in the context. But Jay-Z ain't do a lot of interviews. Jay-Z didn't do a lot of talking. He never was like that. You know what I'm saying? He comes from the streets, and, street people don't talk like that. So, but we understand the nuance. Nuance is everything, and I said it, and you mentioned it, is the way that you say things, the way that you present. If you're going to present, and Dr. Lovin and both of you all know that very well, is the way that you present, the angle that you're coming from. Nuance is everything, because if you say something slightly different or slightly off kilter, then you know that you can offend a portion of the room, half of the room, or all of the room. And we all know there's balance to both sides. We know that there are people who did not even care about what he said. We know people that, slightly offended. We know people that are, I don't appreciate the way that he said it. But
let me offend some people. Let me offend some people. Okay. Destrian Wells Consulting, D Wells Consulting, at gmail.com, all of that, all these personal handles, all of that. If you personally do not support initiatives in your community, if you personally, and let me be clear about what initiatives in your community look like, if you do not support the NAACP in your community, or the Latin American initiative in your community, or whatever initiative in your community for the people that you are upset about, I don't give a damn what it is you feel about someone creating a seat at the table. You can disagree with the method as long as the result is what it is that you are trying to achieve. Again, I do not agree.
Listen.
I gotta say this.
No, repeat that first part. Repeat that first part again.
You can disagree. You can disagree with the methods, but as long as the result is what it is you're trying to achieve, why do you care who's sitting at the table? And see, we have to be honest with ourselves at some point. Sometimes we get pissed off about who's sitting at that table, helping push that initiative forward, or that making that decision, because it's not us. If you are a minority in general, I don't really care if Jay-Z agrees with Cap or if he feels as if Cap should have a job or this or that. Do I personally feel that way? You goddamn right I feel that way. I feel like he was blackballed, whiteballed, however you want to call it. He was ostracized from an opportunity that he probably deserved, that he likely deserved.
He did. Ain't no probably. Ain't no likely.
I mean, I use that to be reasonable.
I forgot which quarterback they went and got, but somebody
man, come on, man. They just went and signed Josh McCown.
They weren't even him.
No,
they signed.
No, it was Cullen Lasher. No, they did it. It was just yesterday. They signed Josh McCown. Yes, he was retired. Josh McCown.
Then I think that means that's two people that they've gotten out of retirement.
That's correct. Yeah. That's correct.
Two busted, like they say, two busted Jones.
But hear me clearly. Hear me clearly. Would he sacrifice his job for the impact that he's made? Likely, yes. So you got at some point, while I think this is a clear violation of the Second Amendment, he has a right to exercise his freedom of speech, and he's being condemned for it. That's my personal opinion. However, realizing that people who sacrifice that are usually not the people that benefit from it, again, I go back to the Dr. King analogy.
He never see civil rights. He never see it. He never saw us sitting at the counter going through the front door.
Marcus Garvey never saw Pan-African-Americanism, but you see people saying stay woke today. We 100 years later.
It's 2000. Exactly. It's 2019.
Malcolm X.
This is the year of the return. Head to Ghana. I just found this out. It's been exactly 400 years, 1619 to 2019.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not already, please look up the 1619 Project by the New York Times. I haven't read it all the way through.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing, bro.
It is a beautiful, well put together collection of resources and articles and, things of that nature that have to do with slavery. 1619 to 2019. It is the year of our return. And if you Google it, you look it up, there have been a lot of people, celebrities and the like, that have returned to Ghana, Africa, to commemorate and learn and things of that nature. And also, go to the National Museum of African American History. They got the mothership on the top floor. If you ain't down with George Clayton, the Parliament Funkadelic.
But AJ,
we pay for it every year, man. So you better
absolutely
go on up there and
listen.
Go see that.
Listen, if we didn't pay for it, I've only been there one time, and from let me tell you something, and I'm gonna be honest, and I'm not sure if both of y'all have been. DJ, I know DJ, you been, right?
A couple of times.
Yeah, Dr. Love, have you been yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, and I guarantee you, this is the same experience that all of us have had. I went through every single emotion in that place, and I did not see everything. And that was some of the best goddamn fried chicken, macaroni, and collard greens I had in my
in that Oprah Winfrey restaurant.
No, the Oprah Winfrey exhibit was next to it. Yeah, I know when you went.
They had a restaurant in that month.
Yeah, no. It's a restaurant.
Yeah, the cafeteria.
But it's not. It's not Oprah Winfrey's restaurant. The Oprah Winfrey exhibit is.
That's what the lady told me. Maybe she lied to me then.
Yeah, she lied. It's not Oprah. I forgot what it's called. I forgot. It's got a name to it. It's because they do it based on. Man, listen. It may not be your grandmother's, but let me tell you something. It's
your aunties.
Exactly. Hey, let's run that cultural reference back. Hey,
go ahead. Break it down.
I'm running that cultural reference back.
Break it down.
Listen, your grandma got that dish that hits every single time that everybody loves. And your grandmother may not be with us anymore. Or she may not be hitting it like she used to, and so your auntie picked up the baton. And it ain't quite there, but you are pleased and satisfied. Yeah. And that's exactly what that place was. Because I said, listen, they consulted with people.
Oh yeah.
More
they
than
found the appropriate seasoning. They just said, what is the median seasoning I can put on this?
Yes.
They have the median seasoning for everything.
I would not be surprised if they have a factory somewhere that has nothing but elders there. Constantly supervising.
You talking about a corporate plantation, man. You got to stop.
No. I said consulting.
No.
Consulting. Literally supervising, watching people.
Cubicle.
Hey.
No.
We ain't in no cubicles. Listen, if my grandmother is sitting somewhere consulting somebody on how much cooking how much seasoning they put in the
something right now, it's a bunch of cussing going on.
She's sitting on high. She's sitting on high.
Your grandmother or your auntie is saying, you don't need no cup, baby.
Hold on.
You don't need no cup.
What you doing with the Pyrex measuring cup? Exactly. Put that down. Put your hand off in that bag.
Put your hand in there.
Put your hand off in there.
You gotta love on them.
You finna season that chicken. You finna flour that chicken by hand. If you don't go get you a plastic or a paper bag, if you want to be fancy, you get yourself but it got to be gallon size, baby.
Wait a minute. Did they season the flour?
Listen.
Did they season the flour?
Hey, we might.
I'm going to season heavily, but I definitely take.
Did they season the flour?
If y'all want to start cultural arguments, we can go off that. Because listen, some people might season the chicken, then put the flour on it.
You been to my house, AJ?
No, you got
been to my house.
Listen,
you been to my house.
I am a listen.
Can you tell them what happens in this house? You've been in this house.
Well, hold on. Some people do both. Some people do one. I myself, depending on how I feel, I will season the flour and not the chicken.
It is not. Oh, you are.
The flour is always seasoned in my crib. Now, sometimes I may season the chicken and also season the flour.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna say what my mama would say. You put some naked ass chicken in that flour.
Hey, let me tell you. When I say my flour seasoned.
You killing everybody. I got you.
My shit be red, bruh.
Oh my God.
Hey, and if you know what red seasoning means, you know I got all kinds of paprika.
You got the KFC recipe.
I just want to point out.
I got 37 herbs and spices.
Go ahead, love.
I just want to point out that a talk on Black strategy for getting ahead has now devolved into fried chicken recipe.
We gotta cut most of this out.
Hey, we gotta make. Hey, we gotta make
this has to go.
We got to make chicken great again.
That's gonna get sponsored by the Ku Klux Klan. I know it.
Oh my God.
Hold on, let me take that back because wait. I take that back. I rescind my.
Petey Green. Petey Green. You remember that movie?
Because if I say watermelon. If I'm trying to make chicken great again, they might hijack that and be like, we need to remove the seasoning. So let me rephrase that.
Let me tell you something. If they couldn't get Petey Green, they cannot get us. Petey Green had watermelon.
No. Don't tell them. Google Petey Green, everybody. The watermelon.
Man,
good
Petey
night.
Green, Country Bama.
Turned into the best television from watching YouTube.
Petey Green, man. Shout out to Petey Green.
Your mama and daddy took pictures of that wicker chair.
Yeah.
Bro, that wicker.
That chair was comfortable for nobody.
Can we measure progress?
That's the listen. The crazy part about it is that same exact chair has now been painted white, and now it's at every baby shower.
I caught a splinter from one of them chairs from them little tiny 1980s shorts.
Oh my God!
Let me tell y'all something, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the after show is about. Look,
shout.
This is why I love the after show. This is why I love the after show. This is what it's about. This is what the after show is about. Go ahead.
Let me bring
it back.
So it's not even about bringing it back. It's more so just about like making sure that we do address some of the things that
Yeah, of course.
That we wanted to discuss, and one of those big things is not far fetched from what we were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how modern society and popular culture will make issues in your community seem small, and how popular culture will make issues in your community seem like they're in a vacuum. Like, this is real shit that we dealing with, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't address this with a really serious approach, and we don't try to gain control of the narrative, we're going to find ourselves in a position where we're actually going backwards instead of going forward. So, relative to what I talked about earlier, which was comparison being the thief of all happiness, it would be hell to compare yourself in 2019 to, let's call it, 1955.
Yeah, I mean,
and realize that the same. And realize that the same fucking thing.
I'm gonna throw this in there, and I want you to, and I'm gonna throw this in there for both of y'all.
Come on.
Because not to put myself in a place, but y'all both are older than me. But we often we often
yeah, that's weak, bro.
We often do this, and I'll speak for myself and many others who we often do this, and this is something that happens a lot, is we often look at historical context, and we always place ourselves into that context with a present state of mind, and always say, oh, if I was a slave, I wouldn't dare do this. I'd be the one fighting.
Not true. Not true.
Hey, go ahead.
Not true.
You already know where I'm headed with that point.
Not true, because what you have to think about is what narrative has been created in front of you. Because even in the state of freedom, or free-ish, if I will, in a state of freedom or free-ish, if I will, are we really doing the things that are necessary to affect change? Because in every generation and in every culture, whatever that vacuum is, that demographic is, you tend to do what's comfortable within that demographic. So if it's comfortable to ridicule and criticize the previous generation for not making enough advancement, and that's easy for you, you will do that. And your laurels will rest on that. If your laurels rest on, hey, we're a progressive culture and we need to push the social norms or what have you, i.e., I've said this in other episodes or whatever, I think that women are the perfect example right now of what can happen when you organize. And I'm just waiting for people of minority or underrepresentation to declarate themselves and unify for that same type of voice. Because women have been heard, and they have refused not to be. Do you see what has happened for them? And it's not even close to what it should be. Not even close.
I think women are the best spokespersons.
Absolutely.
Because they can speak from a logical standpoint as well as an emotional standpoint, and we've tackled that topic before.
Talked about earlier.
We've talked about emotional intelligence and all of that.
Yes.
Whereas, as men, majority of us cannot truly tap into their side like a woman can. We can tap into this, this, I don't even know what to call it. We can tap into it.
Oh, so Arthur, so even with that being said, where would we be as a society if we embraced that opinion and had that diversity of thought as we formulated society and advanced society from the onset? Because,
you know what's crazy? You pose that question, and as fantastical and magical as it seems, is if anybody who's a comic book fan has ever paid attention to Wonder Woman, I honestly and truly believe that, we'd probably be somewhere close to that, where it's, as much as we like to, place women into the framework of, okay, they catty and they jealous and all of this and it's it's not as if men do not tap into those same emotions. We just don't communicate it like the way women do.
Well,
and that's the biggest difference.
We don't market it. We don't market it.
We don't market it. We don't market it that way.
We call it different things.
If a man is jealous of another man, he's pissed off. He's hating.
Exactly.
But a woman is jealous.
Exactly.
She's enraged.
Exactly.
She's envious. Because those words sound more salacious to the tongue.
Women, and this is my opinion. And again, I'm willing to fall on this sword and die on it wherever that may lead me. But I think, and in my opinion, IMO, the same treatment that you could classify for, I won't even say slaves because it was definitely far worse. But for the when we're talking 3/5 person, when we're talking, hey, I'm gonna treat you okay, but you're just a little bit less than.
A woman will still consider nothing.
Yeah, 3/5 person, bro. Like
at that point in time, and a lot of point in times in history, a woman will still consider nothing. And I
think that's the thing that people need to realize. Not black women, not black women, not white women, just women.
Period. And
that, so when you talk about
that conversation
suffrage,
always comes up. That conversation always comes up because when it comes to progression and things of that nature, people talk about the suffrage movement and how black women joined that movement and the power that black women had progressed that movement forward, but black women didn't.
I think that's utterly bullshit. Okay, I think that's utter and complete bullshit because at the end of the day, okay, if your husband is enslaved, you have no rights, benefits, or privileges either. If your husband is free, you may be a woman, yes, but you can identify your husband as the means by which you can secure resources. Now, that's just me being a logical person, and I apologize for being that. Wow. Black women have been the fucking outcast of American society.
Of course,
I wouldn't even say 400 years.
I wouldn't say the outcast. They have multiple disadvantages checked on the list of disadvantages. If you are a white man, you have no disadvantages. If you are a black man, you have the disadvantage of being black. If you are a white woman, you have the disadvantage of being white and a woman. If you are a black woman, you have the disadvantage of being black, being a woman.
But I want to be clear because it's important, specifically because sometimes you need to separate things, and sometimes you have to be careful to separate things. What I have seen from women is a willingness to do what men won't do. They just won't do it. We will not come together. Specifically, minorities or disenfranchised or minorities. We won't come together because it matters more the person that leads the effort than the effort progressing. Women finally decided, you know what? This is bullshit, and something has to happen. And hats off to them. I've said this in a lot of episodes. My wife, I'm an advocate for her. Why wouldn't I want women to advance? But I'm going to tell you this. What women need to pay attention to, more importantly than anything else, is the man that stands next to them. Because he may be a fraud. If he doesn't support you holistically, and he's not about your progression, when we start talking about measuring progress, if he considers and this is important, bruh, if he considers your progress a detriment to his authority, you have a major problem. A major problem.
I just want to know that this man is the one with hair. So when these dudes get thrown up out their house on the coldest day in January and they're looking for somebody, I just don't
let me go on record and say this.
Hold on, Doc. Hold on, DJ.
Maybe I don't need to say it then. Okay?
No, wait.
Because you know what I'm about to say.
Wait. I'm about to say it. Please listen. This is a disclaimer. Listen.
Go ahead.
Listen, DJ
This is a
just
public
said your
service
man.
announcement.
DJ just said your man might be a fraud. Oh man!
Actually, you could put fucking in front of that. I said he's a fucking fraud.
The levity of that statement speaks volumes because the thing about it is, that really hones in on progress versus method.
Man,
if you really feel like, if you really, and especially when it comes to personal, if I don't want to see my wife or my partner or whoever I got in my household, if I don't want to see my immediate family, community progress, unless I got something to do with it, I'm a motherfucking fraud.
Hey,
I'm a motherfucking fraud. Listen. If I don't want to,
I pray to God, Miss Wells, anybody today at this house.
Listen, anybody that's in your power circle, your immediate. Anybody in your immediate presence that does not sit well with your progression because they don't have something to do with it.
Frauds.
Get them the fuck out of there. They are frauds. Because they want to take credit for your success, your progression, your moving forward, your upward mobility. They ain't for you.
But AJ, here's a more cold truth. They don't want to take credit for that because they don't never want to see that shit happen at all.
Yep, that's
true. Fuck the credit. Fuck the credit part. They don't want to see that shit happen at all because I need you to have $1 less than me. Who in the hell has that mentality except the person who doesn't have your best interest at heart?
I pray to God that each one of y'all got $1 more than me, so that way I got something to attain to.
When you need one.
No, it's not even that. It's so that I have something to attain to. Because if everybody around me is equal, that means I got to get new friends. And I don't. That means I got to get new friends. And let me tell you something. I don't ever want to get y'all out of my power circle. So somebody in that power circle got to always have more. Because me personally, I don't want nobody in my circle that got the same thing. Because that means I got to get new friends. That don't mean I'm gonna start fucking with you because we always know we got a connection for life. Right. But the thing about it is, when it comes to people that I'm constantly surrounding myself with, I got to move up to the billionaires now. If we all got millions,
get this to a jumble, cause I already know.
Dr. Lovin, go ahead. I
already know.
Hey, Dr. Lovin, bring in this personal and this finance. We talked about something called personal finance earlier. Look, I don't know if that's a real thing. Is that a real thing?
It is. It's a thing, man. You get a PhD in and everything, man.
You can really hold on. You get a PhD in personal finance?
It happened, man.
Do you know anybody? Do you personally know somebody that has one?
It did, man. It happened for me. 2000.
Wow. The thing is, do you know the first time it happened is the shit that we really talking about?
You know, for a black person, it would have been.
I wish that was. Hold on. I wish that was in terms of historical context. When did the first person of color get a? I'm gonna go old school time. When did the first person of color get a PhD in personal finance? What is it? 1960, 1970?
2000.
You're a person of color.
Me. All right. I was.
You're a person of color.
And color is brown.
Hey, no. Dr. Lovin, get real with him. Tell him, describe your color now. Don't just put yourself in a basic category. Tell him you know what I'm saying? Are you caramel? Mocha?
Please stop there because I don't want to hear any of the intangibles. Okay, let's get to the lecture. Let's go to the lecture. The lecture.
Hey man, so my whole deal with all of what we talking about here is, progress in general has happened and it's been wonderful, and it hasn't happened on accident, right? That the good thing about perspective is we were talking about earlier, and you look at what was going on in 1619 versus, the 1860s versus the early 1900s versus the 1960s. Man, we'd be fools to say there was no progress, okay? But your point about being able to see elements that are still the same now that were existing in the 50s, and in some cases, especially when it comes to the general discourse and the way that people talk to one another, some of it is seeming a whole lot more like the 50s than it is 2019. And so there is reason for concern. And there is reason for people to be thinking about, okay, what messages are we sending, and how are we organizing to combat the things that are making the life of a black person inherently unpleasant when it comes to dealing, let's just say, with the law, just in that particular component of it, right? And so then you start to think, well, what do we do to change this? And part of it is about what it is that we can project through the institutions, because the institution of the media has a lot to do with the present, the present view that people see when they see an African American. It has to do with the narrative that you hear when people see a black person getting the snot kicked out of them by a police officer, and then immediately the next thing to do is for people to come to the defense of the officer and say, yeah, I'm certain there's more to the story that explains why this person's getting kicked in the face on the ground, right? And so combating that type of callousness that feels like the past, that it feels like what it is that we've experienced as a people before, it didn't happen by happenstance then. What do? You had to see it and not color, because it was black and white television, but you had to make it real. And I think part of that is happening with the with the cameras that are everywhere and you seeing the images. But another part that has to happen is people talking about the general narrative that's out there about black people and their relationship to the police, and how we can't inherently make it so that, we assume that every interaction between police officers and black people is going to be without some form, or potentially, without some form of racially charged element to it. We need to know that that's out there. And I think that the more that we have, some of this stuff shown on Facebook is one thing, but to the extent that you have people who are in the NFL who are sympathetic to what's going on and willing to talk about how it's important for all of us to experience equal treatment under the law, I think that can be a powerful thing, right? And if that had been talked about in a more proactive way from the beginning, I have a little bit more confidence about the whole direction of this Jay-Z thing. And this my lack of confidence isn't so much from his track record, it's just for what I've seen from the NFL. Doesn't indicate, when they jumped all on board with what President Trump was talking about, like if Jay-Z comes up with something and then President Trump comes up with something else, I have a strong feeling that the future
Hold on. I'm sorry. We don't refer to that motherfucker as the president. We just say, that nigga.
45 says something. I have a feeling that what will happen is the present NFL owners are going to retreat to what's comfortable to them. And so I have my reservations about how well this whole thing can go, because I know what it is that they've shown in the past as the individuals who make up this institution. And they, the institution's direction most of the time is going to be based on the individuals who have power within it and how they think about things. And so my concern is what it is that we've seen in terms of how they feel about protesting against this type of treatment that is racially based and different. And there's always been, oh yeah, that shouldn't happen, but you need to stand for the flag, and you need to stand for this, and don't disrespect the soldiers, and things that had absolutely nothing to do with why these ball players were taking a knee in the first place. But this is the thing, folks who don't have a good argument want to change the argument, right? So if the argument is not, you can't win it on your grounds of, hey, it should be okay for people to treat black folks bad, and you should be able to have a force that's there as a potential terrorist mechanism in the lives of black people, and they should be able to operate with impunity, and that's what you think deep down, right? And then now you come up with a way to deflect, yes, and make it seem like, the people who are fighting against those terrible things have a flawed strategy, and they disrespect our whole way of life, as though treating beaten old ladies and innocent people and killing folks without just cause or without due process is something that we want to take on as a part of our life as an American and say that defines us. What? Policemen being able to exact justice on the streets because somebody stole something and they ran away? Well, they shouldn't have resisted and run, so you kill them? That's okay? Well, no, it's not right. Nobody would say it would be okay if it was about them or if it was about their kids or their family, right? But as long as you can other it, then it's fine. Well, because if it was me, I would have done it differently, and I would have complied differently. In the same way that we talk about somebody who got transported to 1619 and said I would have been a different type of slave, and I would have organized straight off the boats, and we would have got out. Shut up, Kanye. Like, the fact is, your whole life experience would have.
Doc, these are what you're saying. These are lies.
Yeah, man.
These are all lies. And if we would say incomplete truths or however we want to, no. Look, hey, I'm cool with sprinkling sugar on this shit because at the end of the day, you still got to eat the sandwich because we're making it with all the ingredients. And the thing is this. What we are doing is creating a society where people are more willing to do the dumb shit that's being dumb.
We're creating a society where people are less important than things, and the main thing that we are trying to let people know is that people are more important than things. Yeah.
Look at
that. By the way, is a registered trademark for Dr. John Maluk.
Look at what's in common with every one of these mass shooters. They take a particular ideology,
white man,
and they say this is our way of life, and you
play video games.
What you hear from the president, or from 45, or what
ain't got no girlfriend.
You know what I mean? Whatever reason,
incels.
Their individual insecurity and thing that they want, and they elevate it above the very lives of these people to the point that they say that these people are just going to be symbols of what it is that's important to me, and I'm willing to go out there,
motherfuckers,
kill them, man. What type of disgusting that you have become
lowest
punk motherfuckers.
Just the lowest
punk motherfuckers, bitch ass motherfuckers.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
It's the after show. I can say it. It's the after show. Are we agreed? I can say that they are punk ass, bitch ass motherfuckers that do not know how to they do not know how to direct their anger and their emotions. They have,
This
I just said K.
Oh. This whole
K
was built.
I've never sent that in a text message in my life. K. Fucking K.
Was built on
man, please.
On slavery and subjugation of people in a lot of different ways, and
I'm so mad.
An integral part of
I'm so mad. I'm done talking. I'm done. I'm so mad. I'm mad.
Why are you mad, DJ? It's the after show. Tell us.
I just said I'm done. No.
No. Tell us why you're mad. It's the after show. This is the after show. This is your time to address your grievances, because I know what you're thinking, but you just want to put it into a more volatile tone than the fact that we are sick and tired of inceled coddled white supremacists from being babied
influenza.
by affluenza, babied
I
by
apologize. I don't want to call it.
Babied by the establishment that is. And this can go in a whole extreme direction. It can go in a totally acceptable direction. It can go in a middle direction. But I express your same concerns, beliefs, is the fact that we know as black men.
I am afraid.
We know as black men how our lives go. We know that we can talk the talk, we can walk the walk, but we know at any given time when shit gets real, when it's dark at night and we're on a road and those blue and red and possibly white lights turn on, that we immediately feel our stomach and our heart and our motherfucking balls.
Yes, I had to make a decision.
And you have to make a decision as to how
I need to tuck my son in. Yeah.
No.
I need to tuck my son in, so I gotta eat that.
It's not that deep of a decision, but it is. But the ultimate decision is, how do I react? Because at this point in time in history,
can't be a threat, bro.
And this is why I think there's a duality of people believing like, oh, if I was in this time period, I'd do this. It's because even in this time period where no, listen to me. Even in this time period,
I already know what you're about to say.
Even in this time period where we have people saying, oh, well, if you would have just did this.
So what you gonna do right now?
Because
the question is, what you gonna do now?
But here's the thing, because we know back then, if you comply, things turn out good, supposedly, but non-supposedly, because that's what people think. But then we also know in this time, if you comply, you still run a 90% chance of getting your head blown off. But then we also know if our complexion or our hue were more towards the other end of the spectrum, we can literally walk into a place of business, pull out a semi-automatic or fully automatic instrument of mass destruction, complete that mission, and still be taking the motherfucking Burger King. I don't want to get too deep in this because I feel where you coming from now, DJ. I just felt that internal anger. I know exactly what the fuck you talking about. Because that internal anger just hit me in my heart. I have to not go there. I have to not.
Man.
I have to not. I don't want to. I don't want to. But that's the thing. That's the thing.
So hear me.
That's an illusion.
Hear me clear.
There is progress, but there isn't because now we're back in the same time. We in the same time.
But hear me, and here is something that we, in my opinion, we have to do.
Dr. Levin, after this, please give us something to hold on to for hope, because you're good at giving us hope, Dr. Levin. I ain't gonna bullshit.
I think you'll take this one. You'll take this one.
I'm gonna take. At this point, I'm gonna take everything I can get. Let's go.
Okay. So think about this. When I look at the world, I no longer look at the world from the lens of what DJ needs or what Destrian needs.
Progression.
I look at it from the lens of what my family needs.
Progression on a personal level.
Exactly. And that's progression in itself. You have to learn to evolve your way of viewing the world and the lens by which you view the world based on your circumstance and your situation. When I was a single person, I looked at it as such. When I became a married man, I looked at it differently. And that's not to say that I did everything right, because I absolutely did not do that. And nor am I doing it now. I'm learning to grow and evolve in that way. But what I will tell you is that I can consider things that I never would have pulled into my moral compass at a previous time in my life. And you cannot do that without the benefit of having a woman or a significant other at your side, because it has to be about more than you. So when we talk about the things that you are really relating to, a lot of this shit is deflection. we're sitting here and we're making excuses for social injustice and norms that are not, adequate. But who's going to hold anyone accountable? So when we start talking about accountability and, hey, hold me accountable, who's going to be responsible for that? To whom much is given, much is required. And a lot of times, a lot of things can be given to people. Or there are a lot of things that are in place to be given to people, but they are not willing to accept the requirements. One of the things we have to do as a culture and as a people is stop being unwilling to accept the requirements. You have to be accountable. Because, see, one of the things that people that share the same skin tone as if they don't hold anybody else accountable, they're going to hold your black ass accountable. And if you accept that position for the culture of the community, you know you're going to get it. You know it. I see people run from it all the time. All the time. So when we talk about things like cultural appropriation, we talk about things like moving the culture forward, and we talk about a Jay-Z type of situation, one of the reasons why I give him credit is that he stepped into a position of accountability. It doesn't matter whether he wants it or not. He's going to be held accountable. He's going to be.
But will we hold that motherfucker to a higher standard and a higher standard of accountability than we hold who we consider our light-skinned saviors? That's another conversation, man. Look, I ain't even.
No. It's not another conversation.
I ain't gonna
No. Hear this though.
We praising Kim K for getting people pardoned.
Listen to me. For him personally, his standard is his wife. And see, that's why you marry the right person. Just because of who he married, his standard is going to become his wife.
I know what his standard is because we all know what her track record is. Her track record is impeccable when it comes to this subject matter.
Exactly. But if you think for a second that her handprints are not on all of this,
if you ever thought
he might walk.
If you ever thought Jay-Z was sleeping on a couch.
Last thing, AG. He off the couch. Because if he's walking,
he's
turning the neck. You understand what I'm saying?
If he fuck it up, you can best believe that motherfucker sleeping on a couch. It might be so severe that motherfucker sleeping on the couch in the guest house. And you know they got several. They rich. They real rich. That motherfucker sleeping on that nigga sleeping.
But now we talking about different levels of problems, and then we could do a whole episode on this.
But that's
we got $1,000 problems.
That's progress in itself.
We got exactly.
Hey man, you know what I'm worried about today? I'm worried about whether I should increase my contribution to my 401k
allocation. I already know.
You know, I'm worried about, you know what I'm saying, what are the new allocations for the holding companies, things of that nature. That's progress. And that's the thing that we always got to, you know what I'm saying, we got to keep in mind when it comes to ourselves and our surroundings is we may not be actively measuring progress, but when you hit that standstill, when you hit that point where you are questioning things, you are unsure about things, you are hitting a period of stagnation, you have to reevaluate and evaluate your progress. And everybody hits that point in time where, you know, you decided to, you know what, I'm not going to quit my job yet, but I'm going to start this quote-unquote side hustle or this side business. And we had that whole conversation in a previous episode. But you do it for a year or two, and, you know, in your mind, you're like, well, I didn't really progress any. But then you look back on it and you're like, okay, well, you know what? In this past year that I've been doing this side hustle, this side business, I've gained this many clients. I've built a website. I've procured this, and this as assets, and I've done this, and this, and you may not have had it listed as your key performance indicators. You may not have had it listed on your list of goals and achievements, because we talked about that too as well in season 1 of just making goals and, you know, the impact of intention and things of that nature. We talked about a lot of things on the show, and a lot of the topics are repeated and rebranded as new things because that's the way that we, you know what I'm saying? That's just the way that we think. But you have to understand that when you hit that period or you hit a point in time of just slight doubt, medium doubt, full doubt, you got to sit back and just really evaluate and think about, if there's any inkling of progress that I've made, I need to measure it and give yourself credit for it. You may have had a goal to make such and such amount of dollars this year, but you only made half of that. But then if you look at the year before that and you didn't have that, that's progress. Don't doubt, don't knock, don't hate, don't flex on your progress. Accept it, embrace it, learn from it, improve upon it, and move forward. That's what we all got to do. And we all got to, like, honestly, respectable disagreements is a thing. This is one thing that I know this show has really taught me. I don't often at all disagree with either one of, you know what I'm saying, either one of y'all. And we often talk about the same thing. We often go about it very similarly, but slightly different. Not a whole lot when we talking about our topics. And at any time that we disagree, and I wouldn't even consider disagreements, we always have respectable disagreements, and that's something that's really, truly missing from this culture and this community, is respectable disagreements. And it goes back to the progress versus the method thing. Is it like, just because you don't like the way that homeboy went about going to get his paper, you wanted to be like homeboy, so learn from him. Change what you want to change and do what you want to do and go about it your own way. But if you don't make your goal, don't hate on that man, because hating and waiting is the two things that's going to hurt you. And get selfish people from around you. I got to make that the last point. Get selfish people the fuck from around you. If you're biblical, you know who Judas is. Get jealous people the fuck from around you. They serve no purpose. The only you know what? I'll take that back. The only purpose jealous people serve around you is to know who the fuck not to act like. It's a lot of cursing in the Aftershow. That's why I love it. I use curse words like I use cayenne pepper. Yeah. Sprinkle that shit on everything like Frank's Red Hot. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? That's my wrap up, because it's a BREADren podcast. We got to keep it to a minimum, because we got more ammo for y'all. But I'm gonna throw it to DJ, and I'm gonna let Dr. Lovin close it, because I wanna end it like a beautiful documentary about the life and times of real motherfuckers. DJ, go ahead.
In true Pope Fishing form, your life does not go in the sequence that you think that it's gonna go. Things happen, events occur, and we have to understand that things happen out of order. So in order to really evaluate where we're going and where we are, we have to be cognizant, and we have to understand that true progress is not linear. We have situations that are going to take us backwards and forward, and we have to be able to manage that. So we have to be able to manage adversity, and we have to be able to get through to the other side. Surround yourself with good people, and also understand what your purpose is, and always realize that your enemy is comparison. Stop making the other person your enemy. Your true enemy is comparison, and that's what I want our listeners to take away from tonight. Comparison is your enemy, not the person, not the opportunity, not anything. So I close with that.
No problem. I definitely appreciate you for joining us as usual. And moment of transparency. DJ wrapping up because life is happening. The young prince is crying in his.
He's up. I gotta. He's up, and I gotta go.
The young prince is in his suite, letting him know.
He requires my presence. So,
hey,
I appreciate you guys, man.
Listen,
y'all close
out.
I'll check y'all in the post show.
We got you. The young prince demands an audience go be a part of it, man. I love you, brother. We'll close out for you, Dr. Lovett. I'm gonna throw it to you to go ahead and do your thing, and then I'm gonna go ahead and say a few words.
I was gonna say I really don't have much. I think that you pointed to me about optimism, and yeah, okay, you have the trend of, hey man, it was, we went to that museum in DC, and it starts out where you're on the bottom floor, and the bottom floor starts out with that 1619. It starts out with slavery, and you see how much progress has come, and you see a top floor with a lot of joy and excitement, and you see you see the progress that has been made, right? And I think that if there's anything that ought to make you optimistic about moves that you've seen, whether it's who is becoming successful in other financial endeavors, or how your own success is developing, or even this whole Jay-Z thing, it's that over time, man, like individuals have the tendency to, with prolonged exposure to one another, have the ability to see the humanity in one another and treat each other better. Okay. And people talk about how all back in the day, it was nice, and people maintain facades, and then you had whole underclasses of people who could barely even breathe. Right now, you do have, at least in this country, a lot more ability for people to express themselves. Now, we do see the underbelly that's out there. We see that there's hate out there. We see that there are people who don't like the newfound freedom of others. That we see that there are people who see the advancement of some people as a direct threat to their way of life. But I don't think that's the majority of the people. It's a loud minority, but it's not the majority of people. And it's interesting that the person who I know for sure is not going to win the presidency, but is one of the candidates, Marianne Williamson, talks about the power and the importance of love. And I'm happy she's on those debate stages, despite the fact that she doesn't stand a lot of chance of winning the nomination. What she at least is doing is pushing this out there, pushing this notion that the most important thing is how we treat one another, how we love one another, and how we care about one another. Because when you look at what's
I hate to interrupt you, but I don't want to gloss over that point. Is like you said, there are people that are here to invoke conversation, and that's exactly what she's doing. I honestly and truly believe that she knows that she does not have a chance, but at the same time, she knows she's invoking conversation and topics that if she's talking about it, everybody has to talk about it.
That's it, man. And I think when you look at what it is that's pushed us forward, that there have been organized movements. There are people who are engaged in the legal components and then even the corporate components of certain actions to try to create progress for people in very demonstrable ways. But a lot of the movement that we have seen has taken place in the minds and hearts of people as a collective, people who lived and died a certain way, and the next generation hated a little bit less, right? And I think that is, if anything else, a reason to be optimistic about at least how we have the ability to potentially treat one another in the future. And so to the extent that possibility exists, even though we may have fault with Jay-Z and how he approached things, I think a lot of people really do like Beyonce, and I think that people have this sort of glimmer in their hearts, like, oh, she will be watching, right, as well, and not just her, but other people will be watching too. And I think this is a hey, like I said, it's a huge stage, and great things can happen on big stages, or great embarrassing falls. And so my hope and my earnest hope in this whole situation is that everybody has the best motives, that people continue to move forward, that this matter, which I consider to be a matter of national security, which is equal treatment under the law, regardless of your race or creed. Equal treatment under the law and in the eyes of the law is an extraordinarily important thing. It is a part of the fabric of what makes America a great and potentially better place going forward. And to the extent that we can recognize that, we can have people push that narrative forward, that we can have concrete political action and policies and legislation that reflects that, then I see a positive future for us as a country because of it. And so you take those same things and you make those things real in your life in terms of your own particular goals, and you can be successful in that way too. But collectively, we got to do the same thing. So that's all I got.
Most definitely. And I'm scrolling the social media and scouring the web, and I've come across an article by USA Today that says Jay-Z and Roger Goodell explain their partnership between Roc Nation and the NFL. Quotes, "This is action." And I will read an excerpt from the article because it's only right that we do this. If we're going to speak on a topic, we want to give you facts as well as opinions, but we want to give you opinions based on facts. And everything we've said tonight has been based on personal experience and facts based on personal experience and things of that nature. But according to the article, in addition to helping the league curate musical acts for events like the Super Bowl halftime show or the Pro Bowl, Roc Nation will funnel the proceeds from many of these events back into grants and charities chosen by artists selected to perform via the NFL's Inspire Change platform, which, if I'm not mistaken, was part of the agreement that they made with Colin Kaepernick. Roc Nation will also help the NFL launch content in music streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, such as podcasts in which players and artists can discuss the social issues important to them. Now, this may not be the method by which many of you want to see progress, but has it been done before? Obviously not, but since they're doing it, it's brand new. So I just say that let's start invoking respectable disagreements with amongst ourselves. And that's something that, I think was lost, then found, then lost again, and possibly we can find it again. Because in my era, and it's weird to say that word or that phrase because I'm not old. I'm not an elder, but between myself and my co-host, Dr. Lovin and Dr. Wells, the places that we come from, the elders at a certain point in time reached a certain age, and then in a recent amount of time they didn't reach a certain age. So we can understand the duality of the differences of generations and opinions amongst ourselves and our peers. So I say that to say, give it time. You may not agree with the methods, but as long as everybody literally has the same goal in mind, let's give them time. And that all comes with communication. We may not all agree with the method and the means of announcement and all of that, but it ain't even been a week. I don't even think it's been a week. Has it been a week?
It has not, man. It's been
right. It hadn't even been
days, man.
Exactly.
So hey, we have time to see what is goes.
Listen,
man.
we have plenty of time to see where it goes.
Yeah.
If we speaking in terms of presidencies, they can get 4 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you're speaking in terms of prison, you can, you know how long that can go to see if somebody will change. Shout out to all my brothers on lockdown, man. We know that's another serious issue, so we won't glaze over it lightly because we know there are a lot of people that are, incarcerated for minor, non-violent crimes that should be released. So shout out to those brothers and shout out to all the initiatives that have something to do with releasing those people, especially when it comes to non-violent marijuana charges. I'm an advocate for that.
Absolutely.
And anybody that knows me knows that I'm an advocate for that. So I don't want to brush over that lightly. And we may not, and like I'm gonna keep saying it, man, before we close this thing out for good. We may not all agree on the method of progress, but that's the power of communication between us all is, hey, let's talk about, let's express, let's expound upon our opinions and our views and our methods on how we're going to get to this common goal. There's a key word in it, it's common. We all want to see us progress. We all want to see us do this, and this. But we may not agree on how we get there. So let's talk about it. Because if you don't know, you won't know. Towards the end, Malcolm and Martin saw a whole lot more eye to eye than we ever could imagine. So unless you really study and really know and really read and understand, you won't know. Because the famous phrase is, if you don't know, you won't know. You can be nonviolent, you can be militant, you can be whatever you want, but I guarantee you everybody got the same goal in mind. But from us here at the BREADren Podcast, we appreciate you and we thank you for listening and tuning in and supporting us. Make sure you're following us on all social media at BREADren Pod, BREADRENPOD on Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you're following all of us at our respective social medias and our respective web domains. Dr. Ajamu Loving on Instagram and Facebook and drloving.com. Was it ajamuloving.com?
Yeah, ajamuloving.com.
Ajamuloving.com. There we go. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. So here's the thing. I'm a moment of transparency. Dr. Loving and DJ, both of them. Now mine is based off my business name, but these two have based theirs off their names, which they have several. They base their web domains off their names. So honestly, I'm not sure if every single one of them has been bought. But believe me, you can Google Destrian Wells Consulting, D Wells Consulting, DJ Wells Consulting, Dr. Ajamu Loving, PhD, Dr. Loving, Dr. Ajamu Loving, AJ Loving. It'll all come up. You can find us. It's not hard. You can also find us at BREADren Pod on Instagram and Facebook. That will lead you directly to all of us. And you can find myself, AJ Wilson, at mmbbgw.com, at 248MMBB on Instagram and Facebook. But we love you all. And that's from the bottom of all of our hearts. And I know for a fact that I speak for all of us when we say we appreciate you, we love you, we respect you, and measure your progress, man. Get where you're trying to go. If we can help in any way, we do not hesitate to help, and we don't want you to hesitate to ask for our help, because that's what we're here for. That's why we do this. We love you all. Good night.